Hi, Bonnie. How you going?
Good.
We heard that you were in Australia for a little bit, so we thought we'd catch up some time with you and have a chat to you about your adventures in roller derby. So I might take the conversation back to goal setting a little bit because goals are very important and goal setting is very important. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you got, so San Diego Derby Dolls has their own venue and has done for a long time, and goal setting was a big part of that. Can you talk to me about goal setting on a macro level, so on a bigger setting, and how you do that with a group?
Yeah. Well, I feel like the very first time this came up, it was a league meeting, and the league at the time consisted of maybe 30 or 40 people. And it was me sitting with a piece of paper and saying, okay, we're just dreaming right now. We're just dreaming. We're not putting any limits on it, and just writing down everything that people shouted out. And that sort of got refined, through the years. But first there was the dreaming session, and then there was okay, but what's essential? Like, what do we really need? Like, what do we really want? And then every year it just sort of refined a little bit. And there was a main thing, like, it's funny how it all did happen. Like, we said pretty ridiculous stuff, like cheerleaders. We wanted cheerleaders. And this chick who was one of the San Diego Chargers cheerleaders just happened to know other women who were interested in getting practice at cheerleading, and the next thing you knew, we had cheerleaders at our games. I mean, lockers was on the list when we were just dreaming, and there was a school that replaced all of their lockers, and all we had to do was show up with a truck and get a truck full of free lockers. And the lockers are one of the coolest things about the dollhouse. When you see that, you're like, yes, people have a place to put their things, and it's safe and it's secure, and you can count on that. And it seemed like such a silly thing at the time, like, yeah, we want our own lockers. But it turned out to be like this foundational, like, really important symbol of security, of something that's going to last. And so I think the very first time, it's just important to let everybody dream. And the things that are the most important will become really clear, I think, by the end of that very first season.
And did you write it down, or did you, so you wrote it down?
I wrote it down personally, but then I also posted it to the message board, and then every year would go back and find that post and repost it. And I still have a copy of it in a scrapbook somewhere. And every single one of those things came to pass at some point or another. Some were sustainable, some weren't. Some it was just a taste of it, like we wanted to get games on TV, and maybe part of one game showed up on TV or something like that. But obviously that wasn't a compelling enough goal for us to make it the main focus. And I feel like the main focus was really the place, to have a place that is ours and consistent and home.
And what about goal setting as a team? What were some of the practical ways that you did that? Like, you talked about the meetings, but what else did you do?
On the team level, I generally let other people be the team captains because I already had taken on so much. But on a team level, I mean, it's all kind of the same. It's the same process. You sit down and you talk about greatness and what does that look like, and we're just dreaming right now, so let's write it down, and then consistently referring back to whatever that original list is. And if the list is going to be amended or refined, doing that together and just keeping it this consistent thing that you come back to. When we were going to get our warehouse initially, I had posted a picture of someone else's bank check on our message board with a date that was only a few months away. And I asked people to print it out and put it on their refrigerators or somewhere where they would see it every day. And I don't know how many of them did, but we got it a month earlier than projected, which was only 4 months out. We got exactly what we wanted, exactly where we wanted it, in a price that literally doesn't exist in this universe. So how that happened, I don't know. I mean, I would just consider it the power of group mind and just keeping people focused on a singular goal. And I don't see how that would be any different on a team level or a committee level, or, even if you want to take it out of Derby, a partnership level. I really feel like if people know what it is that they're striving for and constantly refer back to it, it's your compass, it's your true north, and you keep yourself focused on where that is.
You told me that story, it's probably 6 years ago now, about how you got your venue, and my club has our own venue as well, and we use a very similar technique. So it's something that I truly believe in does work.
Sure.
And we shared it on our message board, and it was a vision that we all contributed to. We don't have the monkeys. Somebody did want monkeys. So there were a couple of things on there that weren't realistic. That we haven't ended up with monkeys. But almost everything else on that list is exactly what we've ended up with.
That's amazing.
And so it's awesome.
Yeah.
I find that some of the struggles that people have with goal setting is they just don't know how to set useful goals. So do you have any tips around, I guess, how do you set a useful goal, or how do you set a goal that's written or phrased in a way that it makes sense and that's doable?
Well, I think everything starts with dreaming and coming up with, like, what do I want ultimately? And then how do I sort of reverse engineer that into the steps that I feel like I might need. And you might not be right about what steps are necessary to get to an end goal. I know for me as a skater, I had a vision of how fast I wanted to be able to get up off the ground from getting hit. And it took me like 9 years to be able to get up as fast as I wanted to. But in my mind, I could see it. Like, I could see me getting up so fast from being hit and like laid out on the ground. I could see me getting up so fast that it would be scary to other people because they're not used to seeing that type of movement. And to achieve that type of movement, there's a lot of things that needed to happen that I didn't know about. I wasn't aware of. I didn't know how to become that type of person who can move like that. But those ways sort of revealed themselves to me, and I just remembered it every time I needed to get up off the ground. Like, you're still not there. There's still something to work on. And then it sort of just trying to find ways to get closer to that. So it was a combination of effort and opportunity, and I feel like that's kind of how it goes with goals in general. Just figure out like what your vision is. That's the most important thing. And then visualize it, like see yourself doing it. And then with a combination of your effort and the opportunities that will sort of present themselves to you based on your effort, I feel like it's a two-way street with that. Then you find yourself sort of like on the path, whether you like knew that was the path or not. So writing things down is extremely powerful, and having visual reminders of that goal is also powerful. And a lot of people subscribe to the theory that if you can write something down in present tense as if you are already doing it, like with an ing at the end of whatever it is that you're trying to reach for. I am doing this. I am skating like that. I am with some, verb with the ing sort of puts things present and helps you visualize that, but also having visual representations of it somewhere in your space where you see it regularly. I think that's pretty classic stuff as far as goals go, but I think obsessiveness also helps. I think that's really a key ingredient in just studying your craft. Like, it's not enough to put in the time that it takes to actually do the thing. There's all of this other stuff that, whatever it is that you're into, whether it's derby or something else, there's all these things around it that could be studied. So there's like the physical aspect of doing, but there's also the mental aspect of studying the craft. And as you're studying, you will come up with new insight, new information, new things that help you get back to the doing part.